G'day everybody, big podcast. We are back with our seniors. We're going to keep this nice and brief because we're going to go through team by team, top of the ladder to the bottom, 30 seconds short and sharp of just how they're doing, sort of their records, new players, injuries, whatnot. So we're going to get it started straight away. Starting off with Hume, 8-1 record right now. They just dropped the one game to Melbourne Uni. They've been impressive, and they're 100% a championship-looking team right now. Manasseh has got an injury at the moment. He's only played the 7 games, so questionable as to how long he's going to be out, but they've got all these other guys that are there to help. They've got Carver that's come in from Sherbrooke, who's been impressive. Prendergast, the seasoned veteran, has been consistently good across the board, and Fittis as well, constantly improving.
All right, on to number 2. We got Sunbury sitting at second on the ladder at 6-2 record. They went undefeated through the month of April, which earned John White the coach of the month. However, on the back of that, they've just lost to McKinnon. I think the big question mark over them in their finals run will be around their depth, whether they potentially start to think about guys like the Owen Stevens coming from their youth league program to support.
Wyndham third, 6-3 record. They have Howard now with possibly a concussion injury. We're not entirely sure, but some sort of injury. So curious as to see what happens this week and in the future. Definitely a grand final contention team. Again, Lucas Allen doing a very good job there. Probably the deepest team in this league. Continue to look for them to score, stop, constantly good.
Yeah, they can do it all. On to 4th place, Keysborough, sitting 6-3 in their first year in Championship men. They've sort of, after a bit of a shaky start and some close games in the year, they've actually been able to close out some close ones recently, which they'd be pleased with. Harper Baker and Jared Newby have been fantastic in making that jump to Championship and making them a strong team. I think once again, though, there's questions around the depth. Do they have enough coming off the bench, enough of a scoring punch to really do the damage come finals time?
Yeah, another one of those teams sitting 5th, Melbourne Uni, coming up here. A 5-3 record. So they're doing pretty well sitting in the middle. They've had some upset games on both sides where they could have won versus some games where they've upset some of these bigger teams. Big questions around their roster, constantly changing each week. They can be competitive with the best of them, but with this roster changing each week, it looks like they are sort of an inconsistent team each week to week, game to game. They do have, obviously, the ability to score everywhere. Rhymes can shoot a 3. They got all these guys who can go quickly at the ring, but again, questioning their inconsistency.
All right, we move on to number 6, which is McKinnon. They're sitting 5-4, and they're currently on a 4-game win streak. I think the early season injury to Sharif Black sort of set them back a little bit. But since he's been back on the floor, him and Nathan Davis just get things rolling. And they've added a third cog this year with Mitch Barry sort of looking to play a little bit more through the point. It's been a really good move by Coach Walsh. And my only question mark around them is the size. How they're going to go throughout the finals with their big men department.
7th, we got Canberra sitting 3-6. They're currently on a 4-game losing streak, so they're struggling at the moment. Need to find some form and quick. Some sort of questions evolving around their player personnel and their minutes. They got guys who don't play in the first half and then play in the second, and vice versa. So a little interesting as to how their rotation works. I'm sure there isn't a reason behind it, so we're not questioning that at all. Can close out games is questionable. Their jagged offense needs to probably be tightened up a bit.
Yep, and then we've got, just sitting below them, Western Port in 8th position, starting with the 2-6, which they won't be thrilled with. But they've just come off a pretty good weekend where they were competitive against 2 really good teams, including, getting the win against Melbourne Uni on the weekend. Scott Stone and Daryl Corletto just keep ticking that scoreboard over. And that young Liam Ingram off the bench has been a revelation for them. The boost of youth has certainly helped them. My question is around their defence. I think their lack of defence is probably costing them winning games.
Blackburn sitting at 9th with a 2-7 record. They are currently another one of those teams on a 4-game losing streak. They do have a pretty fresh roster with some new bodies. They are struggling offensively to get that ball in the ring. Again, another team that's sitting at that lower end needs to be able to tie some wins together to get a more consistent season going.
And finally, we've got Bellarine in 10th place, who haven't quite been able to make the jump to championship men that they would have liked to do. I think the loss of Jason Reardon from their Division 1 men's championship winning team is a big one. But they've been within games. They just can't quite finish them off. Potentially maybe they've got a replacement import coming along. But the shining light for them so far has been young Max Cos, who has stepped up as he's a sharp shooter and he's really stepped up for the Storm. And hopefully they can get their first win soon.
Fingers crossed. Catch you guys.